Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Porter. Today we're going to be installing a toilet with a wax ring. We get some Johnny bolts right here. That's the toilet. We're going to be installing that right over here. So we already cleaned it up. So all the old cup is out. Old bolts are gone. This one is a wax ring with the cup, so I like those better, but I want to give you an example how we put them in, at least how I put them in. And so like do a little right down there. That's where we're going to be working at. First thing I like to do is open up this and took off my little plastic protection. You could use gloves if you want, but it's just wax. It's not like, I think it's beeswax if I'm not mistaken. But it's wax. I mean, what else? It's not toxic. It's not, a little sticky. Other than that, that's how it looks. Heavy little cup. Some people get different thickness. Some people double up on the wax ring, but you don't need to do all that. Like once you got a solid cup, some people say put them under the toilet. That's if you're doing like a new install and then you can tip the toilet upside down, but you get the same results by just sitting it right in the center right there. Like that. See that? That's not gonna move out of that. It's gonna stay right there. It doesn't. People tell me the cup moves and it slides. I ain't never seen a cup slide up, down, around. If you place the toilet straight down and don't slide it in, it's gonna drop in that spot. Trust me. I never seen one of those move on me. A plumber told me that it moves. I never seen one of those move yet, buddy. Johnny bolt. See that little ring right there? That stays on there. Sometimes they're plastic. This one's metal. It's not meant to come off. It's meant to go. See how it's kind of oblong? Goes in this little slot right here and slides over here. Look at it again. See how it looks kind of, it's not round, but it's kind of like, you see that? Just like this. Put it in at a slight little angle. We gotta kind of, this one got a little stuff, little debris in it. Let me get that debris out of there first. There we go. Get that out of the way. Now once that's out of the way, now I can, just like that. Now keeps it straight. Make sure your threads are clear. You need those threads to be clear when you put your screws on. You don't want no debris on these threads. So, just like that. The other one on the other side, same thing. Same exact thing. Sometimes these are plastic, so this is there for a reason. It's to make sure your bolt don't fall through the hole. And it's also to help keep it upright when you drop your toilet in. So, keep in mind, that's what you have. Same thing. Slide it in, pull it across, keep it straight. It's like that. There's no rocket science, guys. Now you got two nuts. See these two nuts? And you got two washers. These come on after the toilet is installed, not now. See that? Two nuts, two washers. They come on after the toilet is installed. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kind of back you guys up a little bit so I can drop this toilet straight down. Kind of bring it up a little bit. Maybe back it up further so you can see what I'm doing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of put angle. So I'm gonna drop one down first, one on the other side. It depends on what method you want to use. If you want to do the straight down method, you can do that, or you do the side to side method. I like doing the side to side method because it guarantees I'm gonna get them on each side. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. Keep a target on one of these holes. Whether it's left or right, it doesn't matter. Just keep a target on it. Keep an idea of where it's at. And lift up your toilet. Drop it straight down at an angle. Once I get that angle, I kind of feel that I'm in the right spot. Push it over a little bit. Straight down. See that? Just press, vertical press. Kind of rock it left and right. And we're down. Next step. See, all this is wax. Just take that out of there. You don't need that. Get your rag. Make sure it's cleaned up. Now, if you have a decorative cover, this is the time to put that plastic piece on it. This situation, I'm not using one of those, but if I had the decorative cover, the base will go down now before my washer. The washer goes down next, just like that. Anytime I want to come back and do it, I can always come back and do it. But so you do nicely, slowly thread it, just like that, nice and slowly. Don't force it. If it don't move, then you got something wrong. Nice and slowly. That's all you got to do. On that side, and the same thing on the other side. My washer, my nut. Nice and slowly. And once you got them both hand tight, now comes the tighten down for the toilet, so it doesn't move. Now, everybody uses a different tool. A lot of people use channel locks. Some people use a socket set. I like to use the adjustable, pliers. Or you can get the nut driver for this and drive it down with a nut driver. There's no right way and wrong way, as long as you tighten these down. So I'm gonna tighten maybe 4 or 5 turns on this side, then go 4 or 5 turns on the other side. You always want to kind of keep it uniform. You don't want to tighten down too much on one side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna switch to the other side. Same thing. Now since it's still over here, I'm going to tighten maybe 4 more turns on the same side of the mat, then come back to this side. It's about 4 turns over there. Do another 4 on this side. Now I'm going to check my toilet for tightness. See, I was still moving a little bit, so I'm gonna do maybe 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. I don't want to crack the porcelain. That's the whole object of this. On this side. Still got a little movement, so it's gonna do maybe 3 on this side. 3 on this side. Okay, that's pretty sturdy. Maybe snug it up a little bit more. And that's it. Next thing is put my supply line on. Come over here. Just gonna connect that supply line, if you guys can see it. I don't know if I can get the camera in there. Let me do it this way. Get my supply line tightened up. What I do is I just like to put it on, tighten it up hand tight first. Make sure I don't cross thread anything. Toughest thing is getting it, the first one on. So I'm kind of doing it over the camera too, so make sure it sits flat. I think that, see, now you snug it like that, it's not moving off, and you got multiple turns, that means you got it on there. Now, same adjustable wrench that I got. It's gonna fit around that 3/8 fitting. And just snug it up. Now these are compression fittings, so you don't need any Teflon, any pipe dope, none of that crazy stuff. I see guys putting pipe dope on these things, putting Teflon on them. Compression fittings, guys, do not need any kind of any help. The gasket itself does all the work. Same thing with flared fittings. Flared fittings do not need any pipe dope. People put them on there, oh, it's extra protection. There's no extra protection. Either it works or it don't. If it's leaking, then you need to do another one, that's all. If the rubber gasket's worn out, replace the gasket or replace the supply line. Right? Make sure this thing's snug up. And once you turn it on, you'll know if you got leaks or not, because you can feel it snugging. So right now I got it snug. I don't have to crank it down. Look, give it like a little push. That's about good enough. Because you don't need, this doesn't need a lot of like wrenching down. Because the gasket is, as long as you're pushing against that gasket, you're fine. Open up the water. The water's open. No leaks. That's the way it's supposed to be. I'm making it too easy, but that's pretty much how it's supposed to be. I wish I could find a harder one to do, but they all come out. Sometimes the shut-off valve don't work. Sometimes you gotta put the pack in, repack it, but that involves shutting off the water and repack it. So this is a high-rise building that I'm working in. So to shut down the system and shut this off and repack it, it's a process. It takes more time to drain the water out of the building and fill it back up than it takes to take this off and pack it. So what we'll do is we'll shut this valve as tight as we can get it, take off the supply line and put an adder stop, a 3/8 to 3/8 fitting adder stop. And the adder stop is your quarter turn valve on the top here, where you don't have to do this. We keep this open all the time, and that solves the problem. The quarter turn valves work perfect. And if you use the quarter turn valves, they work like a pro. So that's what we got, guys. We pretty much did what we had to do over here. Show you my crew over here. Let's see, show these guys working too, because they're over here working. Gotta give them a little shout out. That's the man right there. You might know who he is. You might have seen him around, but see that? And once they're done with that, they put the cold base up. That's pretty much it. He's the second best. That's the guy right there. All right. Doing a great job. Great job. Very good. Yes, sir. Hey guys, put this top on this cover here. Water's filled up. We'll flush it to make sure there's no leaks coming through the side. If you see water coming out the side over here, you got a problem for sure. And that's why I don't like to put caulking around this thing here. A lot of people put caulking around here. When I install my toilets, I don't put any caulking around here because you want to see if this water's coming out. Now some people would do, they caulk from the back and leave a back space open all the way around the front to the back, but you still are trapping water under here. So the first, second, third flush, you may still be sealing water up here. You don't know. But typically a good person that's installing the toilet, they keep it clean like this. You don't need caulking under there. Like, guys, tell me if I'm right or wrong. For over, I don't know how long, 40 years, we never put no caulking over it. I see a lot of techs putting caulking under there. You don't need to put any caulking. Not at all. And if you have a problem with the inside of your toilet, guess what? All these parts in here are interchangeable. You can change the flapper separate. You can change the fill valve separate. This is the fill valve right here. That's called a fill valve. Don't call it a fluid master. I had a supervisor call it a fluid master. He goes, pass me a fluid master. I said, fluid master what? Because fluid master makes a lot of products. They make wax rings, for example. They make flappers. They make flush handles. They make a lot of different parts for toilets. So if you don't know the name of it, just say, I don't know the name of it. Pass me that right there. But this is a fill valve. So that fills the water up and shuts it off. That's the flush handle. The red thing is the flapper. That thing that the flapper is on is the flush, what's that called? The flush cartridge? I think it's called a flush cartridge. No, flush valve. Sorry about that. Flush valve. Flush valve. Flush cartridge is something else. The flush cartridge is on those power tanks. One day I'll show you a power tank, power flush toilet. Those are pretty easy to work on too. They got air inducers and all that good stuff on there. But that's what we have. And keep in mind, this is a 3-hole tank. So if you ever had to change the gasket, that is called a tank to bowl gasket. A lot of people don't know how to change. If you ever flush your toilet and you get water leaking out of here, now 2 things you can do. You can try to see if these bolts can tighten up a little bit, and that might solve your problem, because your toilet shouldn't move, the tank shouldn't move. So this is called the bowl. This is called the tank. And they got tank to bowl gaskets. And there's a certain way you're supposed to put those on. If I haven't changed one of these in this building for such a long time. Matter of fact, never in this building. If I ever change a tank to bowl gasket, I will show you guys. This at the bottom of this flush valve, there's a gasket that goes between the tank and the bowl. And when you tighten it up, you want to tighten up all evenly. Like if you could remember the turns, some people don't do that, but sometimes I try to count all the turns. If I count 20 turns on this side, 20 turns on there, 20 turns on the back, until I get it nice, uniform. And while you're doing it, you're pushing down on the tank to relieve that pressure off the screws. You could do it that way. But that's what we have. The only thing I noticed is that fill line. The water is so close to that fill line. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna slide this little. These are the older model ones. The newer ones got screws on them. I'm gonna slide that gauge down a little bit so the fill valve, so the water's not that close. See where my fingers at? That water is right there. And that's the overfill tube. You don't want that water that close to the overfill tube. Other than that, guys, I think we're in good business. We're gonna catch you guys. I got my top down there. All I need to do with this is, I'm trying to do this one-handedly. Sometimes it's not that easy to do, but I'm just gonna lower my. I can't do it one-handed. Maybe I could. I think I almost had it. Maybe I'm right-handed, so let me just do it with the right hand. I think I need 2 hands to do this. Hold on a second, guys. 1 second. Yeah, because I gotta kind of pull and push at the same time. So it's kind of hard to pull and push at the same time with one hand. So now that there should be a little clip holding this in place too. This is supposed to. This is the one that allows your bowl. Actually, the clip is there. It's just not clipped on. How about this? How about we just clip it on? There we go. See that water coming out of there? That water goes in that little fill tube, and that's what gives you the water inside your bowl. Once it gets to that height. So let me just get this adjusted right for you guys. 1 second. Should have had a camera guy holding this for me, because that's one reason why I don't do a lot of videos, because it's hard to do both at the same time. So I got that fill tube in there. See how that water's filling up in there? That's what it's supposed to do. That's pretty much it. And you can't see the fill line, but usually the fill line is about a 1/2 inch from the top. Sometimes it's 3/4 inches, but it's never at the top. It comes down about right where my fingers is, right there. And that's, the water should never go above that line. You see how this line is here? That tell me that line is too high, because you don't want that line that high. You want it down a little lower. So that's what we have. Other than that, we're good to go. Toilet flushed. Water's filling up. No water on the floor, which is good. And we're out. That little drippage right there that you see is from when I turn the valve. Sometimes in midpoint, you get a little water that drip on the floor. That's only because the packet could be a little loose, but as long as it's not dripping when you tighten it or when you open it, like after you complete, you're good. Now, if it was dripping right now, I got two options. I can tighten that little nut up and hopefully I get a quarter of a turn where I can get that water to stop. Then if not, then I will have to come back, drain the system, and put some put Teflon tape, or got packing tape, pack it up in there and do it all over again. But that's a project. You don't really want to do it if you don't have to. So right now my toilet's stopped filling up, and that's about where you want it to be. You don't want it always. You see my fill valve is up. That's where you want it to be. You don't want to be all the way to the top. But then you have a toilet that might be running all the time. Then you have another problem. That's another thing. It's good to know how to properly troubleshoot a toilet. If you have, well, I'm about to say it while I got the camera rolling. Say for example, I have water dripping down here, and all of a sudden you hear a phantom flush every so often. Now the first thing I would check would be the flapper. That will cause that. Now the other thing that could cause that is a bad fill valve if it's dumping water into this little tube right here. But what I would do, I would just push the flapper down and see if the water stops dripping. And if that stops dripping, then that solves the problem. Some people put plumber's blue one in there. You don't even have to do all that if you could find out where it's coming from. You don't have to. It's kind of wasting time putting blue dye in the tank and trying to just figure it out. It's a small tank. It's only so many places where the water can come from. Fresh handle. A little tension is good. You don't want it too tight. We're good to go, guys. Catch you on the next one.